This week, third parties get involved in the conflict between Brave Collective and Banderlogs Alliance. The Blob is strong in Venal. A Ragnarok continues to be slippery and lethal. Initiative structures continue to provide content. FI.RE Coalition takes full control of Immensea. The Alliance tournament is over and there is a protest in Jita. Hello pod people, I'm Frost and this is your weekly EVE Online update. Welcome back. So for those of you that are familiar with the show, you'll know I normally shoot on a Monday evening. I'm actually shooting this time on a Tuesday morning. The reason why is you can probably tell from my voice, I've got a horrible cold. I actually completely lost my voice yesterday, which is why I couldn't film. So hopefully you'll understand if this episode is a little bit shorter than usual, as I'm really struggling to talk properly. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. As always, I do my giveaways. So I have one pilot from the 2nd of November episode, and then 2 pilots from last week. One of them has not come through yet. So here we go. So from the 2nd of November, we have Drix, Onegaya, and then from the 9th of November episode, we have Space Thanatos and Dianera Drogosha. So Dianera, you need to get in touch with me through my Discord, please, so that I can give you your Gila Scope syndication skin. And I have 2 more Healer Gila skins to give away a little bit later on in the show. All right, so let's start off straight away, I think, with Pureblind. So with Pureblind, quite a lot kicked off this weekend, particularly Saturday morning. Let me see if I can get my pen up and running. And it involves Brave going after this constellation up here. There was also a fight, I believe, over this constellation here. So as we know from last week, it appears that Brave are pushing for more territory in Pureblind and potentially want to take all of the Banderlogs territory for themselves. I thought they would be okay with just initially 1 constellation. They seem to be pressing quite hard to move that forwards. One would presume they are a big alliance. They probably need a lot of moons. And that is going to be probably the reason why they're deciding to expand as quickly as possible. Now, the interesting thing here, I have a battle report of all these sub fights that happened on Saturday morning, and I kind of mashed them all together. But you can see here, really I want to show you kind of the groups that are involved and what I mean by kind of third parties getting involved. So this is what I meant by the title of Shoot Broadcasts Only, is that basically, we have these 2 groups. So we have Brave over on here on this side, there we go. And then on the other side, we have Banderlogs. Now, these are really the only 2 groups that are in conflict here. So I just need to shut off an extra sound that's kicking in. There we go. And get my pen back. But what we have is we have kind of third parties getting involved who are actually all neutral to each other. So in this case, toilet paper and some people from Greater Trash Coalitions, you can see here, have been helping Brave Collective. So I've got my pen colors all wrong. But then on the other side, but then also, sorry, bear with me. So they've been shooting at Banderlogs, but Fraternity have come in and third-partied and have kind of been shooting at Banderlogs here. But then over on this side, I'm using a different color, toilet paper have been shooting at Fraternity. The only group that we see, let me just clear that seems to be actually on the side of Banderlogs in terms of helping them with their objectives is Test Alliance Please Ignore. So we have Goon Swarm and the Initiative show up here, but they do seem to be completely third party, and even though they're on the kill board here as being shown as with Banderlogs Alliance, I think that was just more a case of who they happen to be shooting most that particular day. But my understanding is that they are completely third party in this. Now, from what I understand of Banderlogs, they're saying that there is no agreement, there is no bat phone, it is just them versus Brave Collective, and then they just hope that people will show up and help them from time to time. So that's kind of the situation that we've got here. Now, whether Banderlogs manage to keep these systems, sorry, bear with me, these systems remains to be seen. It is unlikely unless kind of the third parties kind of put a real spanner in the works. But what will probably happen is that we will see Banderlogs retreat back to 5ZXX-K, which is they have done in the past and they will probably do again. Now, one of the things to be aware of is that once Banderlogs are there, they will be able to harass Brave constantly. Because if you actually look at the Blobs bridging, so the Black Ops bridging from 5ZXX-K, you can see that it covers all of the current Brave territory and all of the Banderlogs territory, the Banderlogs territory being the .RU. So anything that's circled in white can be reached from a Black Ops conduit jump or bridge jump. So essentially, what we may find is that Banderlogs will basically just pull back into 5ZXX and just create a war of attrition on Brave. But that remains to be seen. So I think that probably wraps it up for Pureblind for now. And I'm going to cut here because I need to blow my nose and cough. So I'll be right back. Okay, we soldier on. So now we're going to go to our universe map and we're going to go up to a Venal. Now Venal is NPC space. And there was a fight that took place all the way up in ZD4-G9. Now, what is interesting about this is that if I bring up the right battle report, no, it's not that one, it'll be this one. There we go. You can see that this was basically over an Astra house that belonged to Arcus Core and as well as an Athanor. Now, if you remember, Arcus Core, a very small alliance down in Geminate. So clearly they were trying to grab some moons up here in NPC space, in NPC nullsec. And they did get a little bit of help from Brotherhood of Spaces show up and dock workers. But you can see that created a total of 52 pilots. And then essentially what we see is NC Dot, so PanFam with NC Dot and Lords of Wales. No, so Lords of Wales are fraternity. So in fact, all of these, bear with me, all of these should be just lumped together. There we go, that's better. Okay, so we have PanFam, which is Soliaris Strontium or Slice, Northern Coalition. We then have Winter Coalition, which is Fraternity, Claudius Alliance, Lords of Wales Alliance, Blades of Grass, and so on. Literally Triggered is Winter Coalition as well. You get the general idea. But what we had a complete blob of 236 people show up against 52. So, like I said, the blob is very strong. This was clearly very important for PanFam and Winter Coalition. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe Arcos Core can give me some information on that. There may have been an R64 moon, I don't know. But just interesting that we were seeing two completely different coalitions go after such a small alliance over one moon, one Athanor. So yeah, interesting that. All right, then I'm going to go on and talk about a Ragnarok. So a Ragnarok brought out another video, which is right here. This time they stole an Asbel core, and this didn't happen this week, this happened the week before, but it took them a little bit of time to get the video out. And so they basically killed a rare, stole an Asbel core, and also killed a Moros in tribute. And towards the end of this video, I actually make a cameo appearance, as does Mr. Unlucky, which is a Twitch streamer. So clearly the gauntlet has been laid down there, so we shall see whether a Ragnarok continues. But because I shot this on a Tuesday morning, I actually found out that very early this morning, you can see right here, I'm just going to click on this one, that a Ragnarok, in his Ragnarok, got a solo kill, drive-by kill again, once again on a Varga, in the staging system of Fraternity. So very ballsy there from a Ragnarok. And this isn't going to end anytime soon. Okay, so let's move on from there. I just need to mention the Citadel that an AT prize ship died, an Imp, which I believe was from Alliance Tournament 13, obviously fitted with a bunch of Abyssal mods, in fact mostly Abyssal mods. Unfortunately, the Imp managed to warp at 0 on Snuffed Out, who insta-blapped it. So there you go, so another Alliance prize ship down. But no Frederick von Hole on this one. This one was just all snuffed out by the looks of it. So, in fact, let me just list all pilots and just make sure I'm not making a mistake there. Now this looks all pretty much all snuffed out. Okay, so then we're going to go somewhere totally different on the map. So we're going to go down to Curse. Now in Curse, in fact, let me go to the catch map. That'll probably be easier. There we go. So if we go on the catch map, basically the system of OSHIT-A, or OSHT-A, which is the kind of the connection from NPC, nullsec NPC space into catch. There's a Fortizar there that belongs to Initiative, which has been a content generator. And as you can see from this battle report, PanFam was very happy to come along, as was Severance. and a whole bunch of other people as well. They're not Severance FI Coalition, sorry. And then on the other side, we have the Imperium, and then we had Red Alliance or Red Menace Coalition and PIBC show up as well, as you can see on the left. So a pretty big brawl, some pretty big losses there as well from the side of PanFam and Winterco and FI Coalition. So, but you can see lots of people showing up. Now, one of the interesting things is that Pandemic Horde have kind of expanded on their hack doctrine, and they are now bringing, so I'm going to have to scroll a long way down because I know this list is ridiculously long. Let me just see if I can fast scroll down the side here. They're now actually bringing, did I pass them? Here we go, Stormbringers. So Stormbringers are now an additional kind of doctrine that flies alongside the heavy assault cruisers. So the Munins, Eagles primarily, I think, with Horde. What is interesting with these is that they use them very effectively. I think it was an Impasse, and I'll come on to that a little bit later. They did get pretty much headshot this time round. They were kind of pretty high up on the list to get rid of, as they did cause problems in the fight that we're going to come on to a little bit later on. The main thing with these Stormbringers is they don't do a lot of damage, but they do consistent damage all the time to every other, because of the chaining of the weapons. They do damage to every single ship that they are sending their lightning zappy weapon towards. What is interesting here as well is they're actually using a monitor, a friendly monitor, to use as a lightning rod. So basically all of these Stormbringers only need to lock onto the monitor, their friendly monitor, and then the monitor flies close to whoever is going to be the target, and then they direct all the weapons through the monitor. So interesting use of a lightning rod there in the terms of a monitor. Right, so also I need to just catch up on something from last week. I said I thought this was going to be a fight to the death between two supers. It turns out that wasn't the case. Basically, Envoy Ghost shot an extra large maintenance array. Two super carriers dropped out of it. He got into the Nyx and shot the other one, and so that was basically what happened there. So he took the Nyx home and disposed of the one that he didn't want. All right, just before I do the giveaway, I need to do one more cut. Sorry about this. Okay, so the giveaway, as I mentioned earlier on the show, the skin for the Scope Syndication skin for this week is the Gila Gila, which is right here. And I think the keyword we're going to use for this week is going to be broadcast. So you need to make up a sentence in the comments below with the word broadcast. Be imaginative. And the cutoff date will be Friday the 19th of November at 1800 UTC. And don't forget, I'm now on Twitch too, and hopefully I'll be recovered by then. I am on Twitch, and I will be on Twitch on 2000 UTC on Friday the 19th of November. And I hope to see you there. We had the first show last week. I had jin'taan on. I had Hoda Denaru from Odin's Call talking about the Alliance tournament. Hopefully I'll have some guests this week. It all depends what I can arrange. I'm actually on a business trip for the next 3 days, so I'm driving 1,500 miles. So I have no idea if I'm going to get time to do that, but I will do my best. Hopefully I'll see you there on Friday the 19th of November at 2000 UTC. Right, and the keyword is broadcast. Right, so let's jump back to, go back up into my box. We've got our map in front of us. We're now going to focus on the southern regions. We're going to be talking kind of Immensea, Impasse, Fetherbolis, Esoteria. I think those are kind of the main areas that I'm going to be covering. So let's start with Immensea. So with Immensea, essentially what we're seeing now is that FI Coalition have taken complete hold of Immensea. So if you remember, there were a few systems that were left that have been cleaned up by AARP. Also, notably, the minions are no longer in Immensea. If you remember, I said they kind of had a non-invasion pact whilst the minions were in the Alliance tournament. So clearly, as soon as they got knocked out, FI Coalition moved in and moved the minions out. Also, there was a fight over an Init Fortizar in DY-P7Q. Let me see if I can find the battle report. Here it is right here. And you can see this time the losses were more so on the side of the Imperium and Red Menace Coalition. But then, is this the one where things are a little bit sideways? No, this one makes sense. But you can see here that if we scroll down, you'll see that the Stormbringers, on this one, there they are right here on the left-hand side, weren't targeted, and that allowed them to be very, very effective. And I think that's why this fight took place before the one in OSHT-A. And I think that's why the Stormbringers were actually targeted much earlier in the fight for the Fortizar and OSHT-A. So there you go. But then the other thing with Immensea is, if you remember last week, I talked about Cosmic Accord and legitimate business, and how Cosmic Accord had taken legitimate business territory. It turns out that the two alliances considered they were both kind of very much on the same path and had similar goals, and so they decided to merge, and they became Cosmic Accord, as they decided they wanted one of the two names, and they did a coin toss live on Twitch to decide which name would take precedence. And the coin toss was done by a third party from Black Rose, as I understand. And so Cosmic Accord was won on the toss flip. So there is no more legitimate business, but all of those pilots are together with Cosmic Accord. So what's happening there? Okay, so then we're going to move over to FI.RE. I just want to point out in FI.RE that the grind from XIX continues, as they've almost taken now this whole constellation. I would assume they are then going to move up and take this constellation before finally pushing down in this direction and finally pushing Invictus back into Esoteria. As once again, it does look like FI Coalition want to take the whole of FI.RE. I think they'll leave Vindictive till last. I don't think they're too worried about that right now. Obviously, we've still got Red Menace Coalition in here as well. You can see up in the top left. You've got Warriors of the Blood God, who are still coming in from Impasse. And so yeah, we'll see how much FI.RE want these systems. Now, especially now that they've kind of cleaned up Immensea, they may put much more focus onto FI.RE. Obviously, the thing to remember is that Invictus are primarily US time zone, so most of FI Coalition won't be involved in this. It'll be primarily Severance, Celestial Empire, Lollipop Monopoly, Flying Dangerous, which I believe are kind of the main US time zone groups. So then over in Impasse, let's go over to Impasse. So with Impasse, FI Coalition have their eyes here as well. They have been involved. As you know, .RHP moved down from Declan and came to join Red Menace Coalition. Unfortunately, some of their structures got hit fairly early on. Before I come on to that though, first of all, we have the battle report for Jarl in Impasse, and this was over a Astra House, I think, that was dropped by friends of FI Coalition, or if not FI Coalition themselves. Big fight broke out over this. What was interesting with this one is obviously the losses were higher, much higher on the side of FI Coalition, was the initiative showed up in force for this one. And this really helped to boost the numbers and actually kind of balance the numbers out, as you can see at the top here. But this is going to be a problem, I think, for Red Menace Coalition, as we'll see from the next battle report. And this was over the two .RHP structures that were dropped whilst they were anchoring. And then FI Coalition managed to scoop the cause for that as well. And you can see the losses here were much higher. But the main reason that we're seeing here is that we're seeing, just totally outnumbered. So FI Coalition can bring much, much bigger numbers than Red Menace Coalition. So, unless PIBC come in big numbers, and also potentially the Imperium, it's going to be difficult to see how Red Menace Coalition are going to be able to hold off against FI Coalition if FI Coalition decide to make this kind of more of a campaign into Red Menace Coalition territory in Impasse. Then finally, I just want to show up in Esoteria. So if you remember in Esoteria, most of the fights that we're seeing are involved around the system, VYJ-DA, which is Steinroos are kind of using to project into Esoteria and create issues for PIBC and Army of Mango in particular. And do I have a battle report for that one? Yes, I do. Here it is. What was interesting with this one was it the battle report got a little bit messed up. Excuse me, I've got to cut again. Okay, I'm back. So what was interesting with this battle report was that things got a little bit crazy, and especially for the Imperium, where we see the initiative over on this side, a Goon Swarm over here as well, and then on the other side of the battle report, we have the Bastion and Nvidia Glory Comes, who are all part of the Imperium, and they ended up on different sides of the fight. As I understand as well, it was pretty chaotic. And things were being shot in all directions, and it wasn't particularly clear, apart from Steinroos and and obviously PIBC, who were definitely shooting each other. Everybody else, I think, was taking pot shots at everybody, which is why this battle report kind of got so mixed up. I also need to mention as well with the OSHT-A battling curse, there were a lot of people involved. I think it was about 3,000. 3,000? I can't even remember now. Let me just go back quickly and check. Is this the one? Let me just try and find it again. It would be this one here. The main thing that everyone commented on with this one was that, yeah, there was like a good couple of thousand. There were real problems with the client, lots of problems with the client not responding properly, and lots of tie-dye, which was a concern. So it wasn't just the server issues, a lot of people seem to have client issues as well. So hopefully this is something that CCP are aware of, and if we start having client issues in tie-dye that are really bad, then it's always going to cause problems with these big fights. So hopefully they'll get that fixed. Right, so then after that, just want to mention as well very quickly, I don't have any info on this, just something I spotted all the way up in Syndicate up here, which is once again NPC null. 2 Vega Fortizars were destroyed by Triumvirate in both of these systems. I don't know why. I don't know whether this is Triumvirate have something against Vega right now. It is quite a way away from Tri, so it is a little bit of a trip for them to get there. So I don't know if that was just targets of opportunity or it was something more than that. Then finally as well, in terms of kind of conflicts in Pochven, it is my understanding that previously the Pochven groups have had good relationships with the Imperium, and so Gunswall in particular. Gunswall pilots have had a lot of alts and stuff up in Pochven. Been using it primarily for ratting. There seems, as my understanding is, those standings have now been reset. There was some concern over dual citizenship by Gunswall pilots. And so yeah, I don't have all the details on that. It's not something that I am privy to completely. But I want to bring it to your attention as it looks like that we will see a shift of power in Pochven. And obviously if Goonswarm are no longer there, we may not see the other nullsec groups getting involved as well, and Pochven may return kind of being just purely small gang. So that's something to look out for. And then I'm going to finish off with some videos and some other news. I had a quick look, by the way, at the whaling kills. 16 Rorquals died, which has kind of been the usual for the last few weeks. What was interesting though is that on the Rorqual side, we had out of these 16 Rorquals, we had 3 be AWOXed in 1DQ1-A. This happened on the Sunday morning, so that would have been Saturday night US time zone, and I assume that this is related to the protest, and it is a way of demonstrating one's dissatisfaction with the changes to the Rorquals. There was also quite a lot of ratting supers that were killed. There were in fact 12 in the last week, which is like 3 times more than you usually see. So I'm not quite sure why that was, but there you go. All right, so now let's talk about, the Alliance Tournament. So what I'm going to say about the Alliance Tournament very quickly is if you haven't watched it, try and catch up with it on Twitch. It was excellent, especially in the lower brackets. The matches were very, very close. Lots and lots of really good fights were had. And yeah, the outcome was very interesting. Obviously, some big blingy battleships were destroyed as well, some flagships. In the hundreds of billions these ships were worth because of all the abyssal mods on them. So yeah, do take a look at that if you can. If not, I imagine it'll be on YouTube in the next week or 2, and you can check it out there. I'm not going to show you anything. I'm just going to leave that so you can see for yourself. Right, then we have a new jin'taan video. I need to bring that out, bring that up for you. My first month's in wormholes with foxholers by jin'taan. So if you want a jin'taan video, there is one up. So go and check it out. Then I need to also bring to your attention a Twitch channel called Large Quaif Zero. So Large Quaif Zero does a lot of charity work for mental health with Blue Potion Gaming. I always want to call them Blue Pill Gaming. Blue Potion Gaming. So go and check out their Twitch channel. I have to say that Large Quaif Zero probably has the most chilled voice in EVE. Very, very soothing. So if you want to listen to something while you're mining or while you're ratting or just shooting structures in Fleet, go check out Large Quaif Zero and go help out his channel and Blue Potion Gaming in general. All right, then obviously the big news that we had kind of on the industry side, which is not something I'm involved in, as you know, but obviously these changes were announced. It created a bit of an uproar, to say the least. The numbers in Jita is basically, as you know, if there's a protest, it normally involves shooting the monument outside of Jita 4.4. And there were a number of pilots, varied in anything from 4,000 to 6,000. Everyone had different numbers in local. No one quite knows why that is. But clearly, a lot of people are protesting these changes. I'm not going to go into all the details, but primarily the changes are that the raw calls are being nerfed in terms of solo mining ships and are becoming support ships. There is the whole waste thing now that it seems to be creating a lot of contention as well. And also the amount of time that it now takes to actually mine resources as well. So you can go and check out the Meta Show, you can go and check out Talking in Stations. Both of those guys had lots to say about these changes. And as you know, I'm not an industry person, I'm a pew person, so I'm not the one to comment on that. But there you go. Finally, I need to make out a shout out to Kane Hartland. Niall asked me to do that, this shout out. So Kane, hello. And finally, hopefully I will see you on Twitch at 2000 UTC on Friday the 19th of November. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. Check out my Mention Me in Corp Discord and your Alliance Discord. I'm losing my voice. Bye.